11 o'clock meeting, Public Works. I did excuse Public Works today because they were short on people, but we do have building and planning here.
Good morning, board. Tracy Jackson, Building and Planning. We've got a request for a potential litigation executive session this morning, right at 11 if possible, with our prosecuting attorney's office. If we could do that for 10 minutes, that would be ideal.
Okay. So we will adjourn for executive session, potential litigation. You're estimating about 10 minutes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
The board is extending the executive session for a period of 5 minutes until 11:15.
Okay, back from executive session, no decisions were made. Anything else?
I have a couple more items.
Okay.
Jim Bain, he's on our planning commission. He resigned effective today. So I'll be working with the board and seeing what we may do change. His term is expiring January 31st, 2025. So we had an extra year with him before we needed an appointment. So Orange
Was
District.
that departure on friendly terms or?
Oh, yeah, he
okay.
is, he was told that he cannot be on the Boundary Review Board and the Planning Commission by the Boundary Review Board's attorney. So he is stepping down.
Okay.
So that's an alleged conflict of interest.
Yes,
So he chose the Boundary Review Board.
he did.
Okay. Thank you.
They don't meet nearly as often.
True. I have in front of me a drainage, it's a memorandum of, that too. A memorandum of understanding between CDID number 2, which is the Woodland Diking District, Cowlitz County and the city of Woodland and the Port of Woodland. And it's so CDID it's part of, they can do a drainage study, hydraulic and hydrologic drainage evaluation of the woodland bottoms. CDID number 2 will pay for all of it. It's their agreement with a consultant. They're going to utilize Gibbs and Olson.
So CDID number 2 is Woodland Bottoms, including the city of Woodland to the river,
Correct.
correct? Okay.
Correct.
So,
And since it's part of our Woodland Bottoms area, our PA's office and our contract attorney have both looked at this MOU and are more than happy with it.
Okay.
It will benefit us knowing what we really probably need to do in that area. And it's always nice when someone else goes forward with a consultant, then they don't ask the county for money. So
you're putting that on the consent agenda?
if that
For
would be
us.
okay, I'll stick it on today for next week's agenda.
So more clarification. So this is an outfit that's going to do the hydrology of the bottoms?
A study, yes, to see what is needed to remove some of the water that compiles
To
it
see what is needed to do what?
for the drainage evaluation. For the water that piles up,
It has nothing to do with the septic system?
no.
Okay.
This is solely CDID number 2, asking the county and the city and the port to sign off on this.
Although if there's a problem with a high water table, that does have an impact on.
It will
septic
have an
tanks.
impact, yes.
So
Yeah, this
that
has-
would make sense. They just want the study to make sure that if they need to create a new drainage ditch or a new pump house, or they're justifying
Correct.
that, right?
Correct.
So yeah, this does have me confused. We've been operating like this for
Years,
tens of years.
yeah.
Well,
There's new development out
there's
there.
new
Maybe
development
that's
going
part
on
of
out there, yeah.
why they need, I know,
Who is driving it though? That's what,
CDID number 2.
why are they driving it?
I think they have ideas for some expansions that they want to do.
Some
Expansions.
expansion. Thank
Yes.
you.
Development expansions.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That could very easily be the port,
Well, the port has a lot of pending projects
right?
that they would like to pursue.
Mhm.
So it's kind of all in that glass bubble of us working with the Woodland Bottoms and
Yeah, I guess my point is CDID number 2 has no interest in acting on its own. It sounds like they're an agent for the port and other developers. Otherwise, expansion, why would they expand?
well, I think they get, if anybody wants to build in that area, they have to, anything that they add in addition to that creates additional waters or flooding or whatever.
So when you use the word expand, you don't mean adding acres to the district.
No, I'm
You're
sorry,
talking about
To-
developing the property.
correct. So they can, they can remove the water. Is Patrick on, Bailey? I don't know if he said he may chime in. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't think we have anybody from Public Works. We did, but they,
And Doug and Jay Durr have both put eyes on this MOA and
They're
are all
okay
in
with it.
favor of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see problems with trying to get more information
Right.
and in that sense, I'm always trying to understand the interactions because I find a lot of things are so deeply intertwined. You never know who's responsible for what and who's driving anything. And the chairman's laughing at me.
And I think we're very intertwined right now just because with the MOA with Woodland. And so everyone is at the table right now. And so they're trying to get all their cards in place.
Okay, and where does CDID 2 get its funding? It's its own funding
It's
entity.
their own, yes, or
Okay.
through the Public Works group and
Dyking
over
District
Fees?
improvement
levies.
assessments.
Okay,
Right.
assessments.
It's not a property tax increase, they will tell you. It's an assessment on the property based on its value.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's,
Is there a formulaic distinction then? Like there's a, what, $10 and something cap on something?
it's based on the assessed value of the property, so.
But do we have to factor that in when we do other, I mean, if CDID 2 decided $10 per thousand, that,
Oh,
how do we account for that?
okay, so my understanding is that because it's an assessment, it doesn't get included in the proration of junior taxing districts that are limited in how much tax they can
All
charge.
right, that's the question.
They're outside of those restrictions. So any group that does an assessment for services or improvements are outside the tax limitation. So our mosquito board is one of those that does assessments. They don't do taxes. Weed board, they do assessments, not taxes. Although theirs is a little bit different. It's a per lot fee.
Mhm.
And then Dyking improvement districts. So, in Longview, we're part of CID 1. So, and that's always an extra line on the property tax bill. It comes on the property tax bill, but it's not a tax.
Got it. And in that case, CDIDs have to come through us they can't just arbitrarily make an assessment. We have to approve the assessment.
I don't think
think their
so.
board
They're
does.
separately elected,
I believe, correct.
but there's one or two Dyking districts where we are the supervisors. And so we do approve the assessments
see.
in those
Okay.
situations, but I think that's North Kelso and one of them, Susan, is
So you'd have
both
to ask
the
Susan.
engineer. Yeah, you have to ask Susan, but she's both the engineer and the supervisor. I mean, it's, the rules are very screwy because there's about 4 different formulas for.
So
doing
within the
flood protection.
rules, then they could charge whatever assessment they would like.
Yes, the limitation being they're elected by the people. So,
Yeah.
there's, and, yeah, so they have a public budget, they have to show that it's going towards improvements to the property as in flood protection, so. But
Very interesting. The mosquito board has to come through us for the assessment.
we appoint them and I can't remember if we
They have their
approve
own
this.
board. They have their own
Mhm.
board. I don't know if they approve their own, but I know, well, they must.
They
because
must, because
They
they're
do,
not
because
elected.
that's
so they're not
correct,
elected,
and
so-
correct. And then that, from that, that goes on your consent agenda and the last
Right.
agenda in I'm having a hard time talking, of November. And then you three like consent to their what they've already adopted.
And the weed board's the same then.
Correct.
Yes, right, the same way.
But if
for
you
them.
change the assessment, it has to come in front of you board before they do theirs.
Yeah.
But Dyking Improvement Districts, I don't think have to come to
No.
us.
But our noxious weed board does.
Yeah. We certify their budget, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
We
Little bit
certify, but I think,
That you've received it,
I think acknowledgement is,
received it.
yeah.
Sorry.
That's the one of the privileges you have for living on high ground. You don't have to worry about these Dyking District assessments.
Well, until the Dyking District decides to expand, which
Or go-
began the conversation.
Or goes bankrupt. And
True.
remember, we had
Oh.
we had a hearing with the Willow Grove District that they don't have any extra people to charge. They're already like 3 or 4 times the assessments of the other Dyking districts because they're landowner poor.
Yep.
And the expenses keep going up, so.
So if the Dyking District X does something that is not foresightful enough and they lead to ineffective protection against floods and things like that, we pick up the tab, the county does?
No, really didn't mean that. I was thinking in terms of, private sewer systems where the developer says they can't do it, they can't afford it anymore, that we end up absorbing
right.
that governance. Camelot being probably the biggest example of that happening. It isn't quite like that. I'm not sure there's been a Dyking district that's actually gone belly up. But, the people will be flooded if the pumps stop working and that was one of the things that they were worried about.
Yeah, I'm thinking an example where, let's even make it quite pernicious. There's malfeasance and,
Oh,
and we
I've got
bought.
an example. we
Oh,
went
go
through
ahead.
that in Longview, 1977. There was extensive flooding not because of a pump failure. But as it turns out, there were culverts that were plugged up with mattresses. And so the neighbors that were drained was Pershing Way was the neighborhood, low lying in Columbia CBG. And the people got flooded out. And in the subsequent investigation, it turned out that the district hadn't maintained the culverts between the drainage ditches. So the water backed up. Well, upon even further investigation, it turns out that the Dyking District engineer had contracted maintenance to a private company
Hmm.
that he owned.
Ooh.
And in secret, and he ended up, very embarrassing. And our Dyking District Commission supervisors now are very much aware that maintenance is a top priority and has to be above board. And I can't remember, I think the guy may have gone to jail and pretty embarrassing because it did cause damage.
Yeah,
So
wow.
they're subject to all the other rules about malfeasance and misfeasance as elected officials. It's pretty,
But I guess in the end, the taxpayer always picks up the tab.
Yeah.
Do you remember the story on the floods that hit Kalama, I think maybe in 2015 or something like that?
2015, where the downtown filled up.
Yeah, and the post office got flooded and so
Yeah,
people.
City
got-
Hall got flooded and they all
Yeah.
had to move up to the community
Yeah,
the Kalama, what do they call it?
'Cause I spoke recently with someone and the accusation, which I didn't follow, there was no, anyhow, the accusation was that those pumps hadn't been properly installed. So there's proper insulation and then proper maintenance and
Which is, there's not a diking district in Kalama. So that might have been a city.
that's a city thing, I think.
City
Yeah.
thing. And cities usually don't do flood control, so something that slipped. They had a change in public works directors. The guy that had been there forever, stopped working for him.
Yeah,
And in small cities, there's that interpersonal knowledge of things that have to be done that sometimes doesn't get transferred when jobs change. And I'm assuming that's the problem on that.
and then back,
Your good friends on the Kalama City government are probably very much aware they've got to keep those things
Yeah.
done. When I was on the airport board, we discovered a similar thing. They had a problem with excess water. Not on the runway, but in the field surrounding the runway. And it turned out that there were some drains to the drainage ditches that had plugged up,
mm,
and they got that. Regular maintenance hadn't been done for years with the airport, so that's being done.
I have one more agenda item. Sorry.
Okay,
Are you okay with the one being on, the MOA being on consent? That you three would sign for at least the study?
I am.
yeah.
I'll
I mean,
put it
our
on for next week.
Attorneys have looked it over and they're
They
good
have.
with it, so.
Yep, and they fixed a couple items of wording, so yes. And the other item is tomorrow on your motion items, and then I see you've added another one too, so I'm assuming your house will be packed with your resolution that's on there for tomorrow after me, but there's a flood hazard management plan. And that's the one that it was a 1988 county flood plan that our department went out and got grant monies for. It was $231,375 that we were eventually awarded. We received the remainder of that, the last bit of that this last year. The study has been completed. Department of Ecology has signed off on it, so we just need the board's blessing on this plan, and then
Do we need some kind of a formal ceremony where you lift the plan up and give it to Larry and say it's yours from here on out?
Larry will be in attendance tomorrow. There were over 100 people, stakeholders, cities, different jurisdictions or different entities that played quite a role in this outreach. They had several open houses. They had lots and lots of meetings in different areas of the county too, north, south, and here at the county building. They had a flood study done of the Westover Lomar Nevada Drive area as part of this, and Susan will say she was right all along. So anyways, Ecology just approved it this last September, just last month. So we received it back and will be in front of you tomorrow.
You said Susan was right all along.
Susan was right all along.
About,
The flooding of the Lomar, Nevada area. That's what she'll say. She'll smile about it,
I mean, what was the issue?
that it's a lot of water for that area.
Yeah.
There's
everybody's knowing
nothing to-
that.
there were-
When the upper grates on
The ri-
Lamar Road get plugged,
The water's high and the callets, and there's nowhere for the water to go.
well, there is that, but we also have to make sure that the road crew keeps that one grate
Yes,
open.
Yep.
At the top of Lomar, because
yes.
when that's plugged,
And they know that now.
it
Yes.
goes out
Yep.
on the roadway and it becomes the river.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still floods down below, and there
Yes,
probably
it does.
plans to buy some more houses or lift up a few more.
I don't know.
Seems like each time it floods,
Somebody else gets raised up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen a couple houses go up out there.
that was one of my first big research projects when I came on board, because the residents wanted something done.
Yeah.
Ken Stone said, we have been doing stuff, millions of
It's
dollars.
been ongoing. Oh, yes.
Anyway,
I don't know who you're gonna have in to speak on it, but I'd like, I listened to the presentation at the planning commission and all I heard was all the great money we can get from grants because we have this now. And I'm more interested in, I'd like to see what extra burdens are on the landowners now. What more burdens are we putting on or what are we relieving? Because when it was first presented, it was a great way it was presented as are things so outdated, we think we got better technology, we can relieve some of the burdens on the landowners. But if that's true, then I need to know what it is.
Okay.
And if it's not true, what are we expecting them to jump through hoops for now? Because just doing it so we can get money really doesn't interest me.
And I'm not interested in any
Yeah.
more grant money for my
Yeah.
end of it. It would go. if-
Well, I don't
yeah.
care if it's a byproduct, but for the sole reason just to do this, because then we can go out and gather money. It's more important to me that we're actually making it easier for our people.
Or
If that's
safe- or
possible.
safer, Or
Yeah.
safer, yeah.
Well,
And
yeah,
with this.
I'm not
with
interested
this
in being there.
plan, they have their first kickoff meeting is this morning in emergency management. So I've got a few staff members over there right now with this kickoff plan, talking about the safety of the community and what this plan means to the county. So
And
I'm
I-
curious to see
I
what
get
your,
tired of being a nanny state. People are grown-ups. They can make some decisions for themselves. We don't have to tell them everything to do.
Yeah, and then there's the pictures of the people bumper to bumper on the freeways and in hurricane areas when they've got no warning. And there's really nothing they can do. Just batten down the hatches is the best they can do. And these plans, I'm typically suspicious that they're academic, but not too practical. And so I don't know if you can address that. Maybe you shouldn't, but
If we can avoid it, I just don't like putting more burden on the folks.
at least if there's more burden, you want to see that it's worth something.
Yeah,
And that's where my question comes in.
I agree with you, gentlemen.
okay.
Yep,
So that's
Well,
pretty much why I had it moved over.
I will let Adam and the crew know.
Yeah.
Thank you. He does have a slide presentation to at least show tomorrow if you're interested.
So this is the public hearing.
No, it's just a motion item.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it on consent because there was nothing, the board just kind of, we've accepted the work, but I know Rick wanted to move it to a motion item, which is great. So,
That's fine.
yep. That's it. Do you have anything for me?
Well, for not having public works, you have stretched it out for a full 45 minutes.
All
Way to
right.
go, Tracy.
Thank you for your time this morning. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Tracy. Any other?
Conservation District Tour. Are we all going?
I'm not because there's a BPAC meeting that day that I don't want to miss.
Oh. Yeah, you going, Dennis?
I remember reading the notice and I thought there was a conflict, so I have to double check because it's coming up next week.
It's not this Thursday, but the following
Yeah, that's what
Thursday.
I got a little bit.
Oh,
I think it's a luncheon down at the golf course.
The Lewis River
There's
Golf
a
Course.
Yeah.
Tour or something like that.
Yeah,
And I just know there's a BPAC that I wanted to be part of, so I didn't.
That's Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Thursday the 19th.
19th, I believe.
Yeah. I have not signed up yet, but I will probably try to go.
you probably will not go.
I will probably try to go if
Yeah.
if I can.
One of us, I've had mixed thoughts on that. That's Thursday, the 19th.
What time?
I don't think there's a problem if you sign up and I sign up.
No, it shouldn't be. Is it in the morning or is it after?
It starts at 12 PM.
Okay, I have a feeling that was kind of the conflict. Collaborative, I think, is scheduled to meet then. So that's why I have to resolve that. That's a
Okay.
conflict. I might, yeah. The collaborative usually goes to about 12:30, so it's not like I can't go, I'm just maybe late. I'll let you know.
Yeah. So I probably will sign up. It's in my district, so I think I should. And then this Spirit Lake Toutle Cowlitz River Collaborative. Are we all going?
I'm going up.
Tuesday or Thursday this week,
Yeah,
I think we're all going.
that one can be. It's segmented, so we don't have to be at every,
Correct.
Right.
yeah,
Correct.
okay. Is October 12th still viewed as Columbus Day?
I was gonna say the banks are closed today, I
They're
think.
closed.
We,
Seattle, city of Seattle is closed also
Are they?
because it's Indigenous Peoples' Day up there,
oh,
So
think-
that's October 9th then apparently.
apparently.
and I don't know if they still do this, but we close the branches, but then would have a all staff training day. So,
What I heard on the radio this morning is that the credit, was it Fiber Federal? Or Red Canoe, one of them was using this as their day of caring, doing
I think Red Canoe.
doing projects
Mhm.
around the community.
Poor old Columbus, he was famous and then now infamous.
Yeah,
Well, he was a little controversial when he was alive, so.
anything else? Okay, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.